Getting right into the first topic, what are you looking at as kind of key matchups?
Well, I would say that one of the biggest key matchups for at least on the Oregon State side on Saturday is going to be defense versus offense. And I know that sounds a little basic there because, I mean, obviously every football game is going to be offense versus defense. But one of the biggest things that OSU definitely struggles with in past seasons and as we saw against WSU last week was staying focused and playing a complete game on the defensive end. So I think biggest matchup for OSU is going to be if they can bring it on defense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key. I mean, Oregon State kind of struggled, especially against the run game. And that's kind of something I looked at more specifically the Husky offensive line against the OSU kind of defensive line and linebackers. I mean, with UW, you've got a relative fresh quarterback, so they're going to want to get a run game going, similar to what Wazoo did against Oregon State, having their running back go for almost 150 yards. Do you think there's any chance that Oregon State D line can hold up?
It's going to be a tough one because, as you said, Washington State didn't even have Max Borghi, and the guy that they brought in rushed for it was 147 yards. So, if they can buckle down this week and really actually tie things together, I think that they could keep it under 100 yards, if not even at 100 yards, but that's where things start going downhill. If they do allow another running back to just run all over them, that opens up your pass game, and it's just not going to end well for the Beavers in that case.
Yeah, I personally don't have much faith in the Oregon State D-line. I was looking at the depth charts, and I noticed that Oregon State's biggest D-lineman who's starting is only 290 pounds. That's not a very big D-line. The next biggest starter is 265, I believe. I mean, they're going up against a UW O-line. Their average weight is 323 pounds. And they've got a 350-pound guard. They've got some big boys on that O-line, and I'm thinking that they're probably going to push Oregon State's D-line back. And I'm projecting for Richard Newton, Sean McGrew, and maybe even Kamari Pleasant, who the coaches have really liked for the Huskies, to have big running game and kind of control the whole tempo of this Oregon State UW game. Something else, though, that I was looking at for a matchup that I think is just, again, kind of a running game, only this time looking at it with Oregon State's Jamar Jefferson. I mean, he was kind of your whole offense last week, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And that's another thing that might be one of the biggest issues for Oregon State coming up this week is they can't just rely on Jefferson to produce all of that offense. And one of the things that Gus and I talked about on Beaver Dash before we even played WSU was that the pass game and the run game have to be in sync. And against WSU, like you said, it was pretty clear that Jamar Jefferson was carrying the majority of the load on his shoulders and not really allowing Jebbia or any of our other skill players to really open up the field and throw the ball. So this week, it's kind of going to have to be the same thing. If Oregon State can't get it going with the run game and the pass game at the same time, especially against a better team against the run, I don't think that he's going to have as big of a game. But that's another thing I had as a key matchup here is that if he can get it going, I do believe that Jamar Jefferson is going to be an issue for UW. But it's all about if we can get the passing game going and then allow the running game to kind of just come into itself. But we're going to have to see.
Yeah. Do you feel that Jamar Jefferson, that week one performance, he could do every week? I mean, I was looking at his stats and I was a little confused. Last year, he had 680 yards on 140 carries and 8 touchdowns. But as a freshman, I mean, he went off. He had nearly 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. I mean, is he going to be another freshman year for him, do you feel, or last year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another year like his freshman year. Well, last year the problem with him was that he couldn't really stay healthy and he was out for a few of those games or just didn't show up into some of those big games. But this year, I mean, after that week one performance, it's kind of clear that he's going to be the star running back on this team and going to have to carry the load of the running game. And I think he can handle that pressure. I think he can really handle that pressure game in and game out. But it comes down to that offensive line. And if that offensive line can help him out and allow him to actually get those yards instead of, him having to do it all himself, because that's just going to wear him down and then by the end of the season, he's not going to have any gas left in the tank.
Yeah. So we got a question from Gus.